Hey, what's up, everybody? Just jumped on here for a minute to talk about a few things. I'm just wondering, in my mind, as I was going through the list of Trump's pardon, just trying to see who he pardoned, why he pardoned them, and then trying to figure out whether it's political or just, hey, how you doing? Just, what's up, Sheeta? How you doing? Just trying to see if it's political or is it just blatant injustice for you to limit your list to at least 40% of your own people. You know what I mean? You got several people who are still incarcerated. I'm doing good, baby. You okay? You got so many people who are still incarcerated under the 100 to 1 drug laws. And I was just going through the list, man. I'm looking at some of the people that he pardoned. And it's ridiculous, man. I was just thinking, in my mind, who's worthy of a sentence reduction in his mind? I mean, you tell me that, because during my tenure in the federal system, there are so many dudes who are convicted, like James Hicks for the first time, a military person who was convicted of a gun charge. What's up, Christian? Still serving stacks upon stacks of years, at least 60 years stacked on top of each other. Hey, Phyllis, how you doing? How Pop's doing? Good to see you, man. Good to see you back in the business, man. I'm still hanging in here trying to do what it do. So I was just thinking, man, they're like, why not pardon your father or commute his sentence? The time serving. Mr. Walls, why not pardon Mr. Phyllis Wall or Rufus Rochelle, who spent 32 years in prison for a nonviolent drug offense? Yet you pardon Kodak Black and Lil Wayne, so for a charge, for them just not getting a charge. You know what I mean? You talking about a first-time drug offender who spent 30-some years in prison, who's on house arrest right now, who's no threat to society. Why you couldn't commute his sentence? Sure, Amy was deserving of her commutation and to clear her record. Alice and the rest of them who fight so hard for other people. But there's so many people that you left behind, in the system, and you didn't commute that sentence or pardon them. Why? Because you had an attitude, because you didn't win the election. You know what I mean? But all your cronies, what's up, baby? Everything good, man. Just trying to wonder, right, like who's deserving of a sentence reduction. You got so many African Americans who are still incarcerated, Reese, to where I'm talking about for draconian laws, man, in the feds and so many in the states. And say, hey, Nisha, what's up? Long time no see, man. You okay? Yeah, good to see you. And it's just amazing, man, how whoever chose the people, they picked a few people like Gibson. There were a few people who were still, you doing okay? There's still a few people who were on the list that was truly deserving of a pardon, especially like Dave Barron. When Obama should have went ahead and commuted his sentence the first time when he reduced it from a life sentence to 30 years. So that's two strokes of the pen. Two presidents has to right one injustice that was given to him a long time ago. But I'm happy for Enrica, him, and the Can Do Foundation for those people that they got released and stuff like that. So, and I was just wondering, man. Who chooses the people? Who chooses the people for to be even picked for a pardon? You know what I mean? And so this is one of the things I'm talking about. When I look at the judicial system, I look at how people how it's geared to make people or to coerce people into pleading guilty and not going to trial. That's why the Fed have such a high conviction rate, because 90% of their people plead guilty. Either you're going to plead guilty on this hand, or we're going to give you a life sentence, 50 to a life sentence, man, on this hand. So, you know what I mean? So how can you not, with a guy who's he's a first-time offender, you tell him, hey, man, look, this is what we're going to do. And most of the time, if you have a public defender or even a paid lawyer, they're in with the system because what they want to do is they want to save it for that key person that they've been promising, that political figure that they've been promising to get their son out or get their daughter out. They want to use that whole card, so they're going to serve you up on a silver platter and use that card and mark, okay, I gave you him, and he didn't go to trial. So what I'm going to do is you give me return the same favor when I get a T.I. or a Lil Wayne to come up. I want to get them off and stuff like that and get them a slap on the wrist and community service. You know what I mean? And then how so many people, man, it just let me give you one instance and you can look all this up. You got Marcus Boyd, you know, a friend of mine. What's up, Monique? G Black. He's still serving a life sentence as a first-time nonviolent drug offender. All right? You got the guys, all the guys that testified on him have gotten out. They spent 10 years the first time. One spent 10 years, one spent 14 years. They've gotten out, been a few years. They just caught a whole new case. And one of them, new release date is 2023. So he only got 3 years. So what they're doing is the prosecutors are giving them a get out of jail free card because what they're going to do, they're going to testify on 10 or 12 other people and serve them up on a silver platter. You know what I mean? So they have what they call basically get out of jail free cards, man, with the prosecutors and judges, you know. And if that's not offering something of value, then what is, man? I mean, when are we going to stand up and say enough is enough for our black boys and our black girls who are in prison now? You know what I mean? Certainly, Evelyn Boza Papa was deserving of a pardon. You're talking about 26 years in prison as a first-time offender, and because she wouldn't testify on her husband, you got her still serving a life sentence. You know, with the Can Do Foundation campaigning for her, with so many other organizations campaigning for her. You got Michelle West, who's still in prison, who's very deserving, you know, of a pardon. But yet you pardon people who are already free, who were convicted of gun violation. You cleared their record. You could have used that stroke of the pen to ease up some of the population, especially when some of these people whose name I'm calling have underlying conditions. So we have to watch what we call in the Fed system, the trickeration of the justice system. You know what I mean? He pardoned fewer people this time than any president in the past, you know, ever did. So I just think that, you know, because he, our former president, was mad at the justice system, or mad at the way the way that he was escorted out. You know what I mean? He decided not to do anything for anybody. You know, get it the way, get it in the way you can. You know what I mean? But as usual, man, and it has me frustrated because, you know, we campaign so hard for some of the people, some who are, like I said, who are already out, like Mr. Phyllis Wall and like Mr. Rufus Rochelle. They're already out after serving over 2 decades in prison, but they're still on house arrest. So in essence, they're still in prison. When you got to get permission to go to the grocery store, when you have to be in by 6 o'clock. What's up, Truck? You know what I mean? So I'm just talking about all the people we left behind, Truck, who are still in prison for nonviolent drug offense. Yet you pardon people like Rosen and Zangrillo and, you know, Chris Young deserve it. I'm just looking at some of the people on the list, man. You know, Musa, he really deserved it. You know what I mean? He was 56 years old in bad health. I'm just looking at some of the people that I did time with. Gibson, you know, but some of the people, man, a lot of the people who got a lot of people. What's up, Trey? How you doing? You know what I mean? A lot of the people who are still in prison, man, it's certainly, you talking about people like let me just find one of his cohorts that he pardoned. From Megler to Hindler, you know what I mean? Just go down the list, man. Just type in Trump's pardon list. And just go down and look at some of the people that he pardoned, man. And some of the things like Corvain Cooper. You know what I mean? Yeah, although Mr. Cooper was in a marijuana conspiracy in a state that has made marijuana legal, you know, I can understand his, but Mr. Pelletier and all the people, some of the other people, some of his people, you know, LeVon Roach, man, big ups to her, man. We fought hard to try to She had been in 23 years on a 30-year sentence. She should have been gone a long time ago. So a lot of these people, you still got a lot of people, man, who are in. They're waiting on the first step, but the judges are playing gatekeepers. I keep telling people that, man. So we have to get behind our people, man, and just try to, whoever we know who's in prison still under 100 to 1, like Marcus Boyd, or either somebody who's under a Johnson case, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Man that told me. Man that told me, man. That's a blessing, man. You know, so, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, so that's one of the things, man. You see how they let Brady back in and go fight at home, huh? Yeah. But first time ever in the system. But, you know, that's one of the things. Yeah, Erica had served 25 years because she had an abusive boyfriend in Illinois. So she finally got out after serving 25 years, man. So that's a big thing. That's a girl that grew up with my nieces in Chicago. And she had a life sentence, right, Reese? I think she had a life sentence. So, you know, the governor, they finally let her out after 25 years. So that's a good thing, man. So we're seeing people on the state level who are getting. Mississippi, man, hadn't done anything. And really, our governor hasn't pardoned anybody, looked at any cases, but they are trying to get the 1223. Thank you, baby, for posting the link. So I'm just preparing to get ready on the Reinvention Center. We got a special guest tonight. Let me see. The McDowell brothers. You know, they went to jail at a young age. And so we're going to try to have them on the show. We got Lisa Riley. Who else? Hey, Ruby, how you doing? Man, you way in Bossier City telling people to contact me, huh? I appreciate that. I'm glad I was able to help them. You over at Dennis eating, and you sending people for me to help down here in Mississippi, huh? I see you. Thanks, Ruby. How the family doing? Ted Jr., I said, what's up? Yeah, did you hear that? I don't know if you remember Erica or Ruby. She used to be with Shalana and Via over on Monticello and Central Park. You know what I mean? Okay, baby, stay safe, man. Stay safe. How's COVID down there? Give me an update on how COVID is down your way, through the trenches where you at. Just be safe, man. Tell Head and them, I say, what's up, man? And you stay safe, man. All right. Love you too, bro. All right. Yeah. And so that's one of the things, man. That's one of the things that we have to continue to do, man. We have to continue to educate our peoples on the laws. We got to continue to ensure that our family stays safe during COVID. I mean, I'm talking right now when I say family, our free family and our incarcerated family, because, you know, one of the things, even though Mississippi has the lowest rate of COVID than any prison in the United States, I think that it's still imperative that we continue to watch those trends, especially in the federal system. The federal system passed a mandate where they have to get all their prisons who are overpopulated, they have to get them down to under 50%. So what they're doing, they're spreading people out. But in moving people, what they're doing, they're shifting the virus from one prison to another. We had a bunch of people who were shifted from Butner to Yazoo City, USP, to ease the COVID. But 2 of the people came in who had a false positive reading on their test, ended up having COVID. And then now, Yazoo City Penitentiary, you know, they have an outbreak there. You know, there. So we have to, okay, for real? Man, okay. I'll try to look him up, man, if I can. That's a good thing, man. On the first step. Yeah, on the first step. Yeah, it's good, man. It's good that they're slowly giving people, I'm going to post a picture later on, man, in my story. I want you to look at it, Reese, you know, and just see who you see. You know what I mean? So I'll do that a little later after my show. But we're going to be joining the Reinvention Center with James Jones and Lisa Riley. And we're going to be talking with the McDowell brothers, man. I want you all to hear her story. Last week we had Carmen Johnson. You know, my whole mode for this, I'm going to try to turn it up in the coming weeks, because I just think it's imperative, man, that we find a new way to fight. You know, we got Tracy Fegan who's still incarcerated. He should have been he got so many crooked policemen on his case. So somebody should have took the initiative to look at his case, look up on his case. And man, the work is wide open. You know, we need a lot of people who are interested in helping people, man, fight from the inside out, because you got a lot of people in the federal prison and state prison who are wrongfully convicted to some of these laws, man, who, you know, just say, I'm going to just give Mississippi for example. We got a lot of people who are serving as 3-time losers for a misdemeanor or a charge that they never been to prison on. And I just think that that's it's just so selfish. You know what I mean? It's just selfish of our justice system to keep locking our people up for misdemeanor charges. And they never been to trial on them. They never got charged on them. But yet you're still sending them to prison for 25, 30 years. And when they go to prison as under the habitual, they got to do day for day. They're not privy to get the good times and stuff. You know, so we got a lot of teenagers, man, who went to jail as youngsters, like 18. Meaning, break that down to me. Saying, you know what I mean? In what area? In what area, saying? You know what I mean? So just put it in the text and explain it to us, you know, to my people, to our people who are listening. You know, so I just think that whatever is needed, you know, so it's just one of the things, man, that we have to continue to do. We have to continue to stay up on top of the laws that affect people who are incarcerated, whether it's Mississippi, Arkansas, whether it's the feds, the state, whether it's Illinois or anywhere, man. We got to stay up on the laws and help our people who are inside and be able to send them some money, or even guide them to some people, talk to some people on the outside, because one thing they do on the inside, whether it's fed, state, or anywhere, if they know that you're getting help from somebody on the outside, then they're going to delay and mess with your mail, you know, and that's just a known fact. People send out letters to the courts all the time, man. That letters and mail get messed with. They don't get there when they see people, because prison is big business, and people don't really understand that. You know what I mean? So, you know, like I said, the topic today is who's worthy of a sentence reduction. Is it the people who goes to prison and work hard and do everything right to prepare himself when they come out, man? You like myself and so many others, like Rufus Rochelle. You right, man. Well, not only that, I just think that saying that's a good thing. Maybe you should write it up, and maybe you could support that. But that's going to take some legislation, because one thing about it, most of the courts and the DAs have qualified immunity. So even if they do wrong, spending money to fight them or get stuff overturned, it's going to be I don't know, man. I have to see that. You know what I mean? It really is, baby. You know, so that's one of the things. Prison is a big deal. Man, we were just talking about the PSD. I was talking about with a guy who was formerly incarcerated, how the prisoners who serve, man, some can serve 1 year, 2 years. Pain level is different for everybody who serves time, because everybody has a different coping mechanism. And so sometimes people get so used to pain that they don't know that they're actually traumatized. You know what I mean? So you got some people who've spent over 2 decades and don't really know that they suffer from PTSD. You know what I mean? Until they get out and get into the system, get out into the world, and they start having, like myself, panic attacks or whatever goes on. They just start having different things to affect their rationale or judgment. And it's easier for them to reoffend and go back to their comfort zone, which is prison. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that it's a double-edged sword, man. We need to have counseling upon re-entry. We need to have counseling before a person gets out. And if a person gets out on immediate release, it should be mandatory that he has some form of counseling. At least introduce him to some form of counseling. You know what I mean? So I just think that it's just so many areas of incarceration that we can look at and talk about, and we have to break them down. Whether it's the the utter neglect that they have for people who are incarcerated. And when I say that, I'm saying like the living conditions that some of the prisoners. What's up, JP? Hey, I need to get with you, man, sometime tonight. All right. So make sure, man, either you give me a call, I give me a call. I'm going to jump on that reinvention center. I'll be off at 8 o'clock, so about 8:15. Hey, how you doing, Shmi? How you doing? I was looking at the list, man. I was looking for Terrence's name. I didn't see it, so man, I had a lot of people who were on there, but I had a lot of people that he really, really just messed over, and then they didn't have their name. So what I was just telling the people, we have to get a new way to fight. You know what I mean? All right, I will. Probably about 8:10. About 8:10, all right. So yeah. So make sure that you text me. So I probably need to holler at you and Cap, at the same time. Just a few things, man. That's that's going on with me and that's going on here in Mount Bayou. So I want to speak with you, like see what role you want to play in it. So I got you. So I just want to do that. But man, if any of you guys get a chance, my baby just posted the link in. So jump over on the Reinvention Center. We got the McDowell brothers on there. You know what I mean? So just come over and talk, man. Then we're gonna have. I also got another segment to. What's up, Donnie? I'm gonna have another segment to where we're gonna be talking about. Where we're gonna be talking to some people who have. How you doing? What's up, Frida? We've been talking to some people who have got out of prison. Man, everybody from 1995 to 2014. You know what I mean? And that's you're right, Sarah, because that's that whole line to where that crack law, that forgotten from Biden's 1994 crime bill all the way up into the First Step Act and everything in between. There was so many shady laws that offered teeny weeny relief, little by little. You know what I mean? So everybody who was saying you're right, and that's something that we need to present to Biden and Kamala Harris, because that's that whole area where the marijuana laws, where they started taking the water weight from what was it, heroin, and they let all those, when it affected all the other population, they started letting them go. But with the crack law, that's where they came with the 100-to-1 ratio. Then they came to where if you had another drug, they were converted to marijuana and then still stack your time. So between 1995, right after the Biden's 1994 crime bill that Bill Clinton signed into law, that's where that whole thing went to, where mass incarceration went from 200 over to over 300,000 people in the federal system, and all in the all over the world. You know what I mean? Like Michigan, Mississippi, everywhere, Texas. The population just went up from 1995. Hey, Joanne, let me see. Right? So what we need to do is try to come up with something and propose some legislation. So Sarah Jane, why don't you jump over on the Reinvention Center and you can pose that question and we'll bring it up. Or we'll come up with our own topic. You know what I mean? You too, saying, I got to get you to do some research so we can try to do that. We can try to write something and put it so we can present to Kamala Harris or our local senator, but we need to go straight to the top, because he actually wrote the 1994 crime bill and Bill Clinton signed it into law. So give him a chance to right his wrong. Everybody who was sentenced from 1995 to 2014 and those that you let out on compassionate relief, if their record was good enough for you to let them out on compassionate relief, then they deserve to be off house arrest and therefore deserve a sentence reduction to time served. You know what I mean? You still can give them a probation. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that that's just something that we need to do and something we need to bring up and get it in front of the right people. Right? So you're right. So why don't you write it up? You know what I mean? Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. So I just think that that's something we need to talk about. So maybe later on this week, Sarah, you can reach out to me. You know what I mean? And me, you, and Sam can have a conference call, maybe with Amy and a few other people. Demeter out in South Carolina. There are a lot of people who are fighting, but we're doing so much fighting. Brittany Barnett, Alice Johnson, but we're fighting individually instead of coming together. you know what I mean, and sit down and talk about what legislation need to be brought up to ease the prison population and to ease everything you know what I mean. So I just think that we need to do that. But look, it's 7 o'clock, man. I don't mean to run. I appreciate y'all stopping through. Y'all take care. And join me here next week. But if you got time, I'm going to stream it live, you know, for most of the people. But I got to jump over. Just make sure that you jump over on the Reinvention Center. You see the link right here. Let's see. You got 830. The meeting ID is 830-2611-3615. The passcode is 224970. That's the Reinvention Center. Let me read what you said. Right? Yeah, so that's what we got to do, man. We got to come together and do it. So as soon as this over, even with the Parchman project and everything else, but first thing we got to do is just tackle one thing at the federal level. Write it, present it, man. Get us a congressman or congresswoman behind us and try to find a legitimate way to present it to them. And we need a list of those people who were sentenced between that area who were still affected by the gun stacking, the stacking from the 924C, from the 18-1, from the 100-1 to 18. There's still a lot of people who was in jail from the 100-1 crack law. You know what I mean? I can call like 10 or 20 people right off my hand, men and women, who are still in federal prison due to the 101 crack law because the judges in that district simply don't want to give them relief when the Supreme Court has said that it's unconstitutional. But look, I'm rushing. I gotta run. Y'all take care, man. I love you guys. I appreciate you coming out. I see you again, Lord willing, before the week is out and next Sunday on a different format. Take care. God bless.